just want to say something. Callum, the Eaters of Light, is not worse than Hellbent. If you want to know why, go check out, I believe it's Creature from the Pit when we defend it against Hellbent.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that one.
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you're wrong and I'm right. Ha ha, bitch. Would you agree?
Today we're reviewing Orphan 55. Sorry for speaking with my mouth full. Connor, you take over.
Patreon.com/Genesis of Androzani has 3 different tiers that give you access to certain kinds of things. The Air from My Lungs tier gives you exclusive access to certain kind of videos, especially a specific kind that will be coming after Series 12. You will all have to wait for that. And then the timey-wimey tier gets you that and early access to our videos, usually at least 12 hours. And then the master tier, where you get to request a video for us to do, which Jake still hasn't done yet. And he needs to soon, otherwise his money will be not well spent. Twitter.com/Gianderzani. Well, I mean, I was going to say something that I usually say, but you all know it by now. And it's not just me. I think Twitter, especially this week, because of the specific week we're recording this, Twitter has exploded, as you can imagine. But more on that later, in a different video. Series 12, Episode 3, is called Orphan 55. It's disappointing because there wasn't 55 orphans, was there?
I don't think there was even one orphan as far as we could tell.
Yeah, is there a story of 55 orphans in it?
Oh, probably some renditions of Oliver Twist.
I mean, I watched the Dr. Falls today. Is that orphans? Are they orphans?
Well, I guess so.
But I don't think there was 55 of them.
No.
Maybe there was 55 orphans that were watching Doctor Who Wipeout.
Maybe. Or, that one. I had one and then I coughed and then I forgot what it was. So, moving on.
You sneezed and regenerated
Yeah.
into a Scottish man.
I'm Scottish. I'm Scottish. I'm Scottish. I got new kidneys. I don't like the colour of your kidneys. Just one question. Do you happen to know how to fly this thing? Clara. Alright, let's fucking talk about
Okay, hang on. I'll say what I think first, because I've done a reaction, and then you can say what you think.
Sure.
There's a tranquility spa somewhere, we don't know, yet. That's picked up by the TARDIS, and Graham is wearing Speedos.
Yep.
And then they get there, and it's like, oh, this looks a little bit like Smile, but then it turns out it's not like Smile, it's more like Paradise Towers, except because it's not Sylvester McCoy, there's actually like the general public watching. So it's a bit like, like when you watch season 24, it's a bit like, haha, I'm in my bedroom by myself and no one knows this exists because no one was watching season 24. Whereas Orphan 55 is New Who, so it's a bit like when you got your pants down and your extended family come over.
I don't know that situation.
No, not I don't mean fully your pants down. I mean like you're in your underwear. That's what I mean. Like not,
I get the metaphor.
Not in a sexual way. I
Yeah.
mean as in you're like lazing around.
Yeah.
And then your extended family go and you're like, I think I should probably be a bit more dressed than that.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of, it's one of those, like if someone walked in on you watching that episode over 55,
Yeah.
they'd be a bit like, what is this?
Yeah. All of my extended family knows what Doctor Who is, though.
Did they watch that though? Or they?
Oh no, they're mostly keeping up. My parents haven't. But
Yeah, because of the Saranga conundrum, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that was a distant memory.
well,
There was also a furry.
I guess so, yeah.
Though, to be fair, we did sort of get them in New Earth and Gridlock, but they were a bit more developed,
Yeah.
I suppose you could say. Those were definitely, like, cat people, whereas this, I couldn't tell if it was a cat or if it was a costume, or if it was both,
Yeah.
or if it was, like, I don't know, I don't understand. I'm not an expert on sexuality and all these weird things. Like, if any of you can explain to me what all this is.
No, I think, like, Hyphen with a 3, was that a character name?
I think so.
I think she was supposed to be the actual creature, and I think it was like, unless I'm remembering this wrong, her tail was like squirrel-like, where it's like really big and bushy and then curved at the top.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So then there was a vending machine, and Ryan ate something that made him feel weird.
Best part of the episode.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And then it was revealed that the Tranquility Spa was actually in a quarry. So then they go out, and it's sort of like it's kind of like the Saranga conundrum, but it's a hike. It's like a hike, you know.
Yeah.
Like they're actually out doing things in the daylight, and you'd think that would be, you know, good for your health because it's like vitamin D and fresh air. But then they realise that they're in the middle of Russia, and I thought it was Russian wasteland, like the permafrost. You know, it's like it's going to be one of those. No, it was actually Earth in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily the wasteland, but it was just Russia.
Mm.
And global warming burned us all, and the hoiks dipped in white chocolate were us. And then so then the Doctor looked at us, not just the companions, but us, and said, "Do your recycling." And then the episode ended.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
It's pretty messy. I think it's a pretty common criticism from everyone who's watched this is there's too many characters. On top of the already crowded TARDIS team, the side characters are just as interesting as some of them. Like, if it was maybe half their numbers and you gave them more screen time individually, they would have been a much more defined team. But because
that's something that Paradise Towers has going for it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Praising Paradise Towers, that's the point we've gotten to.
But
that's Shay Kellier's fourth favourite Doctor Who story.
Oh, there we go. The thing about Orphan 55 that annoyed me is the opening 10 minutes I really enjoyed. Like, I was into it. I was like, this is a weird fucking world with aliens.
Oh yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that the fact that there was furries was off-putting. Like, I thought that was interesting.
It reminded, like, immediately I thought Douglas Adams.
Yes.
It reminded me of a Douglas Adams thing.
And that is reminiscent of It Takes You Away, because this is written by Ed Hine.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's very Douglas Adams-esque.
So all the creativity behind it was great. And as I said, my favourite part of the episode was when Ryan got the Weevil thing in his ear and started, you know, and then the doctor's solution was hilarious. Where she told him, you know, stuck his thumb and remember the bats aren't real, and we just see him out of focus in the background swatting away bats. That's really funny, and that was great. And
bats carry Ebola and coronavirus, I think.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Don't eat bats.
No.
Don't
Bats
eat
are lovely. Leave them alone. Leave bats alone.
Where's Rachel?
Where's Penny? Where are the drugs going?
A flaw from that height won't kill me.
I know.
Anyway, it's whatever. It's just a bit of it was a disappointment to me because it started out so promising and I was really liking it, and then it just slowly got away from itself. Unfortunately for me, it just lost the plot. And I don't mind stories having political messaging or being about something, especially because every story is actually about something. Even if the story is saying there is no point to anything, that is technically being about something, you know.
It's depressing.
I know, but you know what I mean. Like, any story is taking a stance on something, no matter how much in the forefront it is.
Yeah, so you could name any random story, I could probably tell you.
vaguely it's about this, or very overtly this is about
hey.
this. But
The other day, I watched Warrior's Gate, which a lot of people... It's a Doctor Who story with no plot, and it is about something, believe it or not. It is.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is I don't mind. I just think that it should have happened earlier in the episode, where basically as soon as they get out of the place, the Doctor figures out immediately it's Earth. Or someone else figures out immediately it's Earth. So then, first 20 minutes or even the first 15 minutes, set up, here's all this new interesting characters and stuff. And then suddenly, these creatures are invading. Benny's gone missing. We gotta go out. Oh my god, this is actually Earth. And that's the conceit of the episode. And you have these characters dealing with the fact that Earth is gone. And then you can have Ryan, Yaz, and Graham confront the fact that, this is deeply distressing and disturbing to us. Feels wrong. It's like going to your own funeral. You know, there's an incredibly morbid and nihilistic take to this that just came too late in the episode for my liking. I just feel like it needed rejigging, and it seems like it just needed one more draft.
This needed to be 2 parts, I think.
Yeah.
Or at least a longer episode with less of the things that crowd it.
Yeah, trim some of the characters, and you should be all right. Or give it 2 parts. I was sort of ambivalent towards it by the end, because it just kept pulling me in so many different directions, and I was like, I can't get into anything at this point because it's just not clicking for me. I liked a lot of the creativity. I liked the creatures. I liked the reveal that it was Earth. I just think it was handled in a bit of a muddled way.
Yeah, because instead of showing us the diabolical consequences of what happened, they had to tell us. I find that a bit.
Yeah.
I was like, you could have done that better.
Like, because you look at the Zygon invasion and inversion, where it's taking a very deliberately anti-war stance by the end.
Yep.
But that's by the end of a 2-parter,
and
where the whole thing has built up to that speech.
And I think that the heavy-handedness of that speech is earned character-wise because of the Doctor's experience of the Time War.
Yeah.
So there is an actual history to why he feels this way, rather than... It's funny because I know it completely does not matter whatsoever, but I found it funny. Someone pointed out the fact that at one point the Doctor was the president of the Earth and did nothing about global warming.
Yep.
It's pretty funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Also, the moon was an egg.
Yeah. Yeah. What's next?
I will say that within all this chaos that we witnessed in this episode, I actually thought that Jodie Whittaker's Doctor was fine.
No, yeah, she was really good.
One of the reasons why is she didn't have any of the quips that she had in Spyfall.
And also the fact that carrying on from the ending of Spyfall, she's still being a bit more reserved. She's... Her real self is showing a bit more. It's not just her escaping into this family environment where everything's fun and everything's joyful. Reality is hitting her a bit, and even though she's still quite quirky, she has a bit more of a legitimate edge to her.
Also might just be because Chris Chibnall wasn't involved in the script.
But yeah, who knows? But I feel like that's Chibnall's sort of whole mission statement of this.
Hindsight.
Yeah.
Now
absolutely.
I can see that,
yeah.
yes.
That's his mission statement for this season,
yes.
Which is character growth, which is great, because that's what Chibnall's strength as a showrunner is longer form, more serialized storytelling. Broadchurch, for example, it's a serialized 3-part story. But it may have gone on for a season too long, but the thing is, the characters, like all their emotional arcs and we were invested in them because of the way he told and unraveled the story slowly and drip fed us, and then big reveals happened. They didn't feel like they came out of the blue. They
drip feeding.
Yeah,
He's certainly changed his mind on that, hasn't he?
Yeah, but we'll get to that. But no, yeah, Orphan 55 felt like a bit of just a misfire to me.
A bit.
Yeah, I don't hate it like a lot of people do. Not at all.
I don't either, but I think most people do.
Yeah, it seems like the one that has had universally the most negative reaction of all of Jodie's episodes.
Possibly.
Because even the Saranga
As
Conundrum...
Matt Mahmood says that he thinks it's her second worst above Saranga Conundrum.
I can see why people think that. And
Personally, I don't think it's that bad, but I do agree that it's not a good episode.
No, I think it's just too...
It's actually quite polarized because there's some people that really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Like, Callum says that whilst he agrees that there's massive flaws with Orphan 55, he enjoys it on an entertainment level more than Spyfall.
That's fair enough, and because it's whack. It's really weird, and I like that. But yeah, no, for me, it's just sort of middle of the road. Like, I just feel like there's not enough of any specific one of the elements that are all at play at the same time in this very convoluted story for it to really shine, unfortunately. It just doesn't quite click with me.
So basically, I thought Jodie was good, except for the fact that I just think that the little bit at the end was just not handled well. Like, I get why they did it, but you know, I've been like all throughout series 11, aside from Arachnids in the UK, because that one was genuinely terrible. I've been sort of saying, like, you know, I think people need to calm down criticising the handling of, you know, people's political views in this in this series, because honestly I don't even think it was that bad. Like, I thought that people took a stance that I think people have the right to, and they did it within a story, like Demons of the Punjab, for example, does
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they took a stance, and they did it within the story, and they showed that stance in a scenario where it works, and I think that I'm fine with that. I don't care. Like, do whatever you want with your view. But I think with this episode, with how this handles global warming, I would agree that in contrast to every other episode, aside from the Rackets in the UK, I think this one may have taken it too far.
Not in what it was saying, but how it was said.
Yes.
Like, it just didn't... It felt like it being the twist undermined the message that was being said at the end. Yeah.
I just felt like it was just the wrong move to really fucking hammer down to the audience, like, do your recycling! Because most people realise that. You know, there's plenty of people out there fighting for their thoughts and feelings on global warming, and I just don't know, it just didn't sit right with me. It just didn't sit right with me that within this piece of fiction, rather than showing an example of where this could go wrong, you have to say it. It just... Yeah, I wish it was different. I wish it was handled in a way that was more interesting than what it was.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And a lot of people said that this episode felt like it was coming back to Series 11. And one thing that reminded me of that when they said that, I was like, it kind of goes back to that whole thing we were saying before about, like, the show feeling a bit more like the Magic School Bus than Doctor Who. If that makes sense? In the sense that it's made for children and you have to say everything directly to them, otherwise they won't understand. So, you know, it is what it is.
It is indeed.
Graham.
He's alright. He doesn't get much play.
He wanted to have a holiday.
He wanted to have a holiday and he got his speedos on. Well, hey, and that's... You know, it was just his sort of usual comedic relief side, and he had that little moment at the end where he was consoling Ryan, said, she'll be alright. And as far as I can recall, that was about it. There's not much to say, really.
Yep. Yaz didn't do anything either.
No.
In regards to this being like Series 11, she was very much back to where she was.
She was sidelined, annoyingly.
Massively.
Yeah.
The one companion who wasn't, though, was Ryan.
Yes. He got a lot of play.
He got his little side story with, what's her face? Hang on, let me remember her name. Her name was Bella. And one of my favourite dark jokes from this episode was, oh, we both got dead parents. That got a chuckle out of me.
Yeah, yeah, and I didn't buy that he would be so upset by, again, that's a nitpick, because of course you'd be, you know, that's someone you've grown to know, even though it's a very short amount of time, you're still like, that's a human being about to be eviscerated by a bunch of aliens. I care about that, of course I do, because Ryan has empathy. I get that, but I don't quite like that it was sort of played in a romantic vibe because they'd only known each other for a day.
This is why it should have been 2 parts.
2 parts, yeah. Because that just sort of lessened her impact and the end of her story would have had more of a punch to it for me had the Ryan romance side of it not been involved.
It's a very difficult thing making convincing romance in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And the only time
Stephen Moffat did it in Blink.
he did it in Girl in the Fireplace as well.
What happened, Steve? But no, yeah, exactly. It's
very
it's
few
very
examples
hard.
whether you can be convinced of it.
Yeah.
I suppose like Gwen and Reese in the first episode of Torchwood, but the thing is that was like that's not when they first met.
No, that's like
They've known each other for ages.
Yeah, they already were on that part. You know, that's we weren't getting their meet cute and then
I suppose
the whole relationship.
I suppose whenever Captain Jack would meet strangers, like Chantho, like.
But that's just down to Jack as a character and the way he functions.
Yeah, that's just literally, and that's more just like he just wants to sleep with them.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean Ryan, and his performance was great. Tossin Cole's performance was great.
I don't. So the scene where like they both sucked thumbs before they left each other, was that meant to be an emotional scene? Because I laughed.
I did
so
too.
hard.
I did too.
At that.
I think it must have been tongue in cheek. It must have been like
Surely.
a slight piss take of those kind of romantic farewell kind of things.
Yeah, surely.
Because it was so silly.
It was fucking hilarious.
And based on It Takes You Away, I think it must have been intentional.
I mean, Head Home must just be a massive troll, right?
I think so.
The other part of that was the fact that Bella was the daughter of Cain.
Yep.
Which came out of nowhere.
Yep.
I think it's quite creative.
It is.
Because obviously they don't look the same.
No.
So you definitely wouldn't see it coming.
No. That having been said, that soap opera element, and I don't mean that in a slighting way, like my favourite era of the show is Russell T Davies, and that's pure soap opera.
Yeah, so hang on, just don't go on a massive tangent, because I know this is going to be quite a short review.
Yeah.
I was thinking the other day about how strange it is
Yeah.
that on paper, when I think about like just regarding everything I know about the show, if you were to lay out this show to me and just describe in like a few words like what the tones are of the showrunners, you said to me like Russell T Davies, like soap opera, romance, cheese, and like it's a sci-fi show that's set mainly on Earth.
Yeah.
Specifically series 1. And then you said Moffat, like alien planets, fantasy,
Fairy tale like, but
dark themes too.
Yeah.
And like and a mature, like experienced, award-winning actor as the Doctor. I would absolutely tell you that Moffat sounds the better option.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, absolutely, obviously, sci-fi show. There's different planets, has like better cinematography too. There's absolutely no doubt that I would prefer Moffat on paper. And look where it turned out.
But yes, back on Orphan 55. Those soap opera elements, I don't have an issue with them being there, but again, there's just too many things at play for it to have any resonance with me. I couldn't get into it. I couldn't buy into it because I was being snapped in 1,000 different directions in such a short space of time. It wasn't a bad reveal. I think I agree with you. It's kind of a clever reveal, but I just
certainly subversive. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but it just I was distracted by Benny and the aliens and the Doctor
and the furry
and
global warming in Russia and
and the twist, and it was just too much. Like, you can have a lot going on, but it's how you space them out that works, in my opinion. And it just didn't, because I'm just trying to think of what's another really crowded episode that's not a finale. That works really well.
Oh, the one that works really well.
Yeah.
From New Who or?
Just across the board.
I can probably think of one. really crowded episode that works.
Silence in the Library is pretty crowded.
That's two-parter.
There you go. Oh well, midnight. But there's not like a whole bunch. There's like just the main plot lines
See,
of
the
all
thing
the
is,
characters.
The problem with
Yeah.
Midnight is there's only like 2 or 3 main characters.
Yeah. Well, it's not the problem. That's what makes it work.
Yeah.
There's preferential treatment given to certain stories. I can feel them screaming at us through the screen.
That Doctor? No, that's what. The 5 Doctors.
The 5 Doctors. There you go.
That's a one. Technically speaking, despite the fact that it's very long,
Yeah.
it is one part,
Yeah.
and it has fucking bazillions of characters.
Yeah.
It's got the first Doctor. It's got the second Doctor. It's
Yeah.
got the third Doctor. It's got the 5th Doctor. It's got briefly the 4th Doctor and Romana.
Yeah.
It has Sarah Jane. It has
K9.
K9.
Cyberman, the Master,
the Master, the Daleks,
Rassilon.
It also has the fucking not Barusa, but the other one, the Castellan.
Yeah.
It's got the Brigadier. It's got
Master Stewart, right?
JB and Zoe in it, I believe.
Yep.
It's got Liz and Mike Yates in it.
Yep.
It's got Susan.
Yep.
It's got
The original Warrior Guard, was it? What?
Yes.
Yeah.
Tegan Turlo.
Yep. And Celery.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's. Again, any of the subplots, it's just a bit of a nothing episode to me because nothing stuck out. Because it was all just sort of. It was a juggling act that didn't quite work for me. Other characters?
Oh yeah, sorry. Crowded. I'm just trying to think of crowded stories. How many characters does God Complex have? Although most of them get killed off, don't they?
Pretty soon, yeah. It's
Yeah.
pretty swift.
Yeah, that's true. Alright. Okay. Vilma and Benny.
Benny!
Did you see the remix?
Yes. And I also saw the Benny Hill version. On paper it's great, but again it's just it could have been quite emotionally impactful, but her constantly yelling Benny just didn't work for me.
Surely these were the last characters that were tacked on because she wasn't given any other dialogue.
No, and the thing is, like, their setup's great, but then
How could you willingly write the script and be like, what do I say for her here? Benny. Next one down. Benny. Like, what?
it just didn't click for me. I really liked the setup and him being killed and the implication that the creatures were toying with him.
It was quite a cool dark idea there actually,
Yeah.
where he said, "Do you want to marry me?" Yes. Okay. Please tell them to
Kill me.
To kill
Yeah,
me.
He says kill me, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great. I know that sounds really gross, but like, it's a very, that could be a really impactful story. But again, it's just in this juggling act of hyphen with a 3, Ryan and what's-her-face, and her mother, who's there, and the creatures, and the other guard, and then there's the engineer and his son, and it's just too much.
Oh yes. What are their names? I believe one was Silas. I think. Oh yeah, the son was Silas, and I believe the father was Nevi. Was played by James.
From the In-Betweeners.
James Buckley. That's his name. The actor who's in The In-Betweeners.
Yes.
And also in Orphan 55.
Yes.
With green hair.
Yes.
And so does his son.
Yes.
Which is a story.
Yes.
Like,
All about how?
like the married couple and the woman and her daughter.
Yes.
This is a story that could have worked had this been longer, or if there'd been less characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's about a man and his son who are repair workers, and he doesn't believe in his son.
When his son knows what he's doing.
When his son knows what he's doing, and then his son knows what he's doing, and he saves the day, and it's like, oh, thank you, son.
Yep.
The most basic thing ever, for an actor that could have done something incredible. Like imagine James Buckley in like something like Unicorn and the Wasp.
Yeah. At least
or,
when they had Greg Davies on, they gave him Hydroflax or whatever his name was, so he could just ham it up and be really, silly. And he was the villain.
They wasted
Whereas
Stephen Fry this series as well.
I have a feeling Lenny Henry's going to be back. Plus, he also had some more to do. But like Stephen, All right, moving on. I don't have a. I don't.
Green hair.
This. Again, literally every single one of the stories that was going on, I liked, except there just wasn't enough of it because it was
Did
all.
James Buckley's character say any comedic lines?
I think he did to Graham. There was a offhand line he had to Graham, but I can't remember what it was. Someone in the comments tell me because I'm not rewatching this episode. For that.
The fucking side characters in Fear Her had better jokes.
Because who was that written by?
Matthew Graham.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Who do you think it was written
I
by?
had my wires crossed. I was thinking of Love and Monsters.
Ah. Well, that one's a very funny episode too. Much funnier than this one.
To be fair, Orphan 55 is not trying to be a comedy.
Try not to be what?
A comedy.
No, it's a tragedy.
Oh my god.
Anyway.
This just reminds me of that.
Has the Oscars happened yet?
Nah.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. He deserves the win. I just think the movie's a bit not as good as everyone says. But hey,
Callum says it's his favourite film of 2019.
well, that's absolutely his prerogative. Like, I can see why people love it. It just didn't. Anyway, I'm not here to review Joker. If you want me to review Joker,
You're not fascinated by mental illness?
when it's portrayed in an interesting way, yeah, sure. Anyway, I'm not here to snipe on Joker. I don't want to piss DC fans off. I am one.
Yeah,
I am one. Leave me
Yeah,
alone.
you'll get to do that when we eventually get around to reviewing Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Which will be never.
Yeah. I do. Just to clarify, I do like the movie Joker. I'm just shocked at how many awards it's been nominated for, except for Joaquin's performances and Hilda, what's her name's music awards. The soundtrack, cinematography, and the performances were incredible across the board. Moving on.
Well, apart from -3 having that costume, anything else to say about it?
She had a couple funny lines. She was started as a bit of
The most scary part for me, visually, was not actually the tail; it was the eyebrows.
because they were painted on, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird.
Yes.
I kind of it was kind of good weird.
Yes.
Yeah, but again. we
Also,
just-
one of the people that got eaten
Yeah.
by the drake,
Yeah.
the first one, looks like Robbie Rotten.
Yes, she did.
Yes, I said
That's
that in the
right.
reaction. Rest in peace.
Lazy
That's nostalgia right there.
We are number one. Hey! Alright,
The dregs. The hoiks dipped in white chocolate, isn't it?
cool designs. When they were shot up close and was all their slimy teeth, they looked fucking awesome.
But then when you saw their legs,
Yeah.
CGI legs.
When the CGI, the arms were too close to their chest or something, they looked kind of stocky. But the I did like the design, but it's it's quite simple, and that's kind of why I liked it. It's
That's kind of the point, though, isn't
yeah.
it? They are us, apparently.
Yeah. Hey-oh.
Is it scientifically accurate?
Well, evolution, and evolving in those that survive. The idea, in a science fiction world, those that survive the inhospitable atmosphere, then reproducing and their progeny being poisoned by the environment to then slowly devolve by generations into that, I could see.
Oh, it's gonna be Drake's fan fiction now. That's not good. That's not good.
No, it's a bit of a joke, man. But
But the plot of Orphan 55.
we covered it before. Can we move on?
Okay, fine. Sure. You can do that.
Yeah.
It was written by Ed Heim, who did It Takes You Away.
I think there's a brilliant writer in Ed Heim somewhere. Genuinely.
Yes.
Because all of his ideas in this episode I love. I just wish that it was paced better, cut down, extended
I think we can safely say that It Takes You Away was the better episode.
by a considerable margin. This has nothing on the reveal of the Solitract being a frog.
Oh. You know what I reckon? Because I know we did the reviews last year and they're all still there, and I still stand by a lot of the things we said. But looking back on it with a new, fresh perspective on Doctor Who after watching a lot of classic Who and just thinking about things through, I think It Takes You Away might be the best episode of Series 11.
I mentioned that way too.
Yeah.
Welcome to Genesis of Androzani. We constantly change our minds, except for on a few things. But yes, I agree.
I think it might be.
I think so. It's the most creative, without a doubt.
Yes. Not the most important,
No,
but it is the most creative one.
for
And
sure.
at this point, that's what I want.
Yep.
But the problem with Orphan 55 is it is creative, but it's not controlled, and it's a mess.
Yeah.
But there are enjoyable aspects. I will say that. And for me, personally, I enjoyed watching the mess unfold, which is why, in Worst of Classic Who series, I'm really looking forward to when we get to Paradise Towers. Because I have seen that before in 2013, but it's been a long time and I don't really remember much of it.
Mm.
And I'm looking forward to watching it again to see how it compares to Orphan 55.
Yeah, because it's been getting a lot of comparisons, and aptly so, again, from memory, about the same time as when I last saw Paradise Towers. But, you know, I agree.
I remember the swimming pool. That was funny.
Yeah.
There's a monster in the swimming pool and Mel is screaming.
When's she not? On Big Finish, which is great.
The One Doctor review, 24 of
Yeah.
the
By the way,
calendar.
Ravenous 4 is great. Eric Roberts on Big Finish is great.
I always dress for Big Finish, even though no one can see you. This episode was directed by Lee Haven Jones, who also did Spyfall Part 2.
He did the best he could with so much going on.
Yeah.
Because that's so, especially when you have that many characters in that small space, that's really difficult to do.
I think he pulled off the vibrance of the colours and the tranquility spark.
Oh yeah, all the
So much
yeah.
so that I think it was so good the fact that it looked fake.
Yeah.
Like, he made it look really artificial.
Mm.
And then obviously the quarry looked very like yuck, which is good.
Yeah, no, it looked like the production design was great. It absolutely was.
It's just that because this episode was so chaotic, you couldn't really see anything going on without
Yeah.
pausing it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. It's a shame, but there was just
Like, I
too...
felt physically assaulted by this episode, how fast it was.
It's the opposite of too many cooks. There's too many ingredients for the waiter to serve, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The cook's the madman behind it, where he's like, I like spaghetti, I like sushi, I like this, I like that, I'll throw it all in there and I'll mix it up, and it's great.
Ice cream and steak.
Ice cream and steak, oh yes, fish fingers and custard and all. I'm going to put it all in there, and I'm going to present it to the waiter, who's going to go, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this?
The thing is, Russell T Davies used to do that all the time, but for some reason it would work.
Well, yeah, we'll give it to someone like Graham Harper.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's I that whole rant aside, I actually quite like the directing of this episode because it's a monumental task, and yeah, I don't think this episode is as bad as everyone says.
I thought of a story, a good one, from our point of view. There's a
Yeah.
lot of characters in it.
Yeah.
The Sontaran stratagem.
Yes. Yes.
And actually...
Two-parter.
Yeah, true. It's a two-part. I was also going to say Daleks in Manhattan. That's got quite a few characters too.
Two-parter.
As does Rise of the Sidebed and Aliens of London.
Two-parter.
Single-parter though, I don't know. Planet Youth.
Father's Day.
Fires of Pompeii.
Yeah. Fires of Pompeii's got quite a few.
Oh yeah, actually no. Father's Day's got quite a few.
Yeah.
But I suppose the married couple.
Turn left.
See, the thing is about Turn Left, but that's kind of different.
Yeah.
It's continuity. The thing is about Father's Day though. Father's Day is kind of like the Red Wedding, where the people that got married are not the important characters.
Sure. Voyage of the Damned.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because this episode was actually kind of
Reminiscent.
was very reminiscent of Voyage of the Damned.
Yeah. Cool.
Like I said, Russell T did it and it worked, but there is one very, very key difference between Orphan 55 and Voyage of the Damned, and that is because Orphan 55 was 45 minutes, Voyage of the Damned is 75 minutes.
And it's great. I don't care what he says. It's great. I love it. I love Voyage of the Damned.
You know what? When we watch it again with Jake, I'm going to see if
Yeah.
it changes my mind.
Well,
Because-
I've been nicer to Love and Monsters. That's true. Opinions
I
change.
slightly reappraised Fear Her. Slightly.
Yeah, I haven't finished watching that yet. I don't know, but that's good.
Yeah.
I think there's some brilliant stuff in Fear Her. I think. Well, no, let me rephrase that. I love the idea for the paper drawing villains. Like that's a great concept.
You know what? I'll also say one thing too. I like the concept of people's faces getting sucked into TVs too.
Faint praise.
Every episode of Russell T Davies era has great ideas. All of them. I think all.
Doctor's daughter, yeah. Sometimes Chosen, yeah. Voyage of the Damned, yeah. Runaway Bride, yeah. Aliens of London, yeah. Yeah. Cool. Let's move on with this.
Music by Sagan Akinola. I honestly cannot remember it because it's been a while.
Yeah. Nothing stood out.
I can't remember. Sorry.
So,
I think it was
like,
just too chaotic.
I just didn't have enough time to like take the music in.
I'll have more.
Also-
I'll more about to say about them in the next two reviews.
Yeah. Agreed. Spoilers. We've seen the following 2 episodes,
Yeah.
which might be slightly why we're antsy to get through this, but that's neither here nor there.
I just don't remember what it was in Orphan 55. So sorry, I can't say. Maybe when we get to the if the Series 12 soundtrack has come out by the time we do the recap. Then
Oh yeah, by the time the recap is, I'm not necessarily going to watch all the episodes, but like certain scenes and stuff, and I'm going to listen for the music to give it an appraisal. Yeah.
yeah, so we'll see. I just don't remember it honestly. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it was good.
Well, Sagan Akinola hasn't done a bad piece of music.
There's one or two that I was a bit iffy on. One of them was the James Bond thing from Spyfall Part 1, and there was another theme from Kablam that I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit weird.
Kablam was like 1,000 years ago. I don't remember anything about Kablam.
Robots of Death, but 42. And Ark in Space, because I had bubble wrap.
Did the main villain die because of bubble wrap in that episode?
Yes.
So I didn't dream that up. Okay, cool. Moving on.
That was one of the most popular episodes of Series 11. I didn't think anything of it.
No. Okay, what's next?
Interesting how that's Bolstrick's favourite one, because that's the one that's pro-capitalism.
You heard it here first, kids.
Viewership, 4.1 million overnight. Still in the safe zone, I'd say.
Yeah. Again, like we said last week and the week before. I mean, last week. Last time and the time before.
Yep.
And also on top of that, it's the age of streaming. Viewing figures don't mean nearly as much as they once did. And still 4 million is fucking great.
Yep.
So, I think it's great.
Look,
We're in the safe zone.
Eaters of Light got something stupid like 2.8, so
Yeah.
we're still far off the danger zone yet.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's funny because this week, weird thing, but this week I've watched both The Eaters of Light, which is the lowest viewed episode ever, and City of Death, which is the highest viewed episode ever, in the same week. I don't know how that happened.
I cannot wait till we're over with the worst of Who, so I can talk about the City of Death.
Absolutely phenomenal television.
It's so good.
It is spotless. It is, I would argue, one of the most quotable pieces of media I've ever seen in my life. Probably on par with like Revenge of the Sith. It's that quotable. It's fucking. Your light lightsabers will make a fine addition to my collection.
General Kenobi.
What a wonderful butler, he's so violent.
That's good.
Oh dear. Also, I don't know how you feel about this. I think you're going to probably disagree based on when we reviewed The Leisure Hive and talked about this. Because The Leisure Hive is shit. But Season 18 is underrated.
No, I'd say it itching towards
To be
it.
fair, I haven't seen Meglos either.
Yeah.
Now we weren't saying that for Worst of Classico, but
Yeah.
I like the E-Space trilogy, and I also like the final two stories.
I'd have to rewatch them to give you a proper.
Do you want my quick sort of thoughts? You might not like it.
Go, quick fire.
Full Circle,
Yes,
solid.
yes.
State of Decay, fucking brilliant.
Okay.
Terrence Dix does vampires and his Gallifreyan lore. Brilliant. Warriors Gate, the weirdest episode of Doctor Who ever made, but I did 2 hours of research after I watched it, and I really, really, really like it.
Well, there you go.
The Keeper of Traken is fucking amazing for the Master.
It's so good. I have that one on. I own that one on DVD. It's,
Jeffrey Beavers as the Master, and Anthony
Yeah.
Ainley as a very, very, very nice man.
Why didn't they do more with Nyssa? And the fact, Nyssa? Yeah, Nyssa. The fact that Nyssa's father, the Master, stole the Nyssa's father's
And
face.
Legopolis,
Yep.
it's certainly an odd one to have as Tom's last,
Yep.
but I think Legopolis is like if a Moffat regeneration story was good.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. Though Tegan is very tacked on.
But the Doctor Falls is great.
Well, yeah, it is.
The Doctor Falls is the best regeneration story. Okay.
No, it's not.
Actually, no, it's not. That's a lie.
The War
The
Games
Caves
and
of
the Caves
Androzani, that.
and Beowulf Party of the Waves,
Yeah.
I think are all better than that one.
Yeah, they are.
I probably.
But it's better than End of Time. Fight me. Anyway.
Doctor Falls.
Anyway.
You know what? I might agree with you on
Hey!
that. Possibly.
Obviously, there's the huge
I'm
nostalgia
more,
of.
I'm more emotionally attached to End of Time, but World Enough in Time and The Doctor Falls is a better story.
Okay, can we? Yep. Let's move
Sorry.
on. With all. We've got a lot to do. We've got a lot to get through.
Sorry. Conclusion and rating out of 10 for Orphan 55.
6 out of 10. Like, it's so middle of the road. I liked all the ideas. Nothing in it annoyed me beyond the structure. Beyond it being too packed and not enough's been cut out or not enough time has been added. I didn't hate it. I just kind of nothing that... So I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 because I don't think it was bad. I just don't think it was particularly good either because of the overall structure of it really holding it back. Your turn.
My ratings changed quite a lot.
Yeah.
But I think it is an enjoyable mess, but it is still quite shit. Too many characters, too many ideas, and the global warming thing was heavy-handed and stupid. 4.5.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
That's right, kids. I gave it a lower score than Fair Hair. Fucking fight me.
There we go. Tell us what you think.
Because Fair Hair is a wonderful story about cupcakes with ball bearings on them.
Are those little hazelnut silver ball things? Who cares?
Yes, the Doctor eats one at the end and talks about how Papua New Guinea did good in the shot put into 2012 Olympics.
Also, I remember at the start of the video, you and Jake were talking about what's good that happened in 2012. I don't know if you ever mentioned it, but I was surprised you didn't bring up the Mr. Bean skit at the opening of the 2012 Olympic ceremony.
I was surprised I didn't bring up the fact that the Avengers came out that year.
Jesus.
And the fact that CM Punk was the champ for the whole year.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Okay.
next time, a tongue twister. Nikola Tesla's
Night of Terror.
Hopefully it's better than Night Terrors.
I always forget that exists. Okay. Bye.